In this video, we'll be making a name tag. It's similar to what we did in 123D design, but I'm going to show you some different features in Fusion 360 that will help you if you decide to make changes to your name tag later on. So first thing we want to do is, I'll draw your attention up here to this area up here. We can click on this and we can say Show Data Panel. We'll get to that a little bit more later on. But you can see you've got a whole bunch of different things in this Fusion training, and hopefully you have that from your initial PDF that you looked at. But I'll close that and I'll choose File instead, and I'll choose New Design. So in this new design, I'm going to start with a sketch, just like we did in 123D, and I'll choose a polygon, just like we did there. It doesn't matter which of these two you choose, they just do different ways. So what you'll notice here is in 123D we didn't have these three planes that we could have chosen from, but in Fusion anytime you start a new sketch you have to choose a plane. So I'm just going to choose that plane, one with the red and the green. It's called the X and Y. I'm going to place my center point and then start dragging out, and it looks really similar to 123D. So I'm going to change the number of sides to 8 for this one, just because. And then I'll change the side to 40. So what I did to do that was I was pushing Tab in order to change. So if you push Tab, it will change back and forth between. When it's blue like that, you can type in whatever you want. You don't have to push Delete first. We'll change that back to 40, and then I'm going to push Enter, and it will lock that in. So at this point what I'm going to do is stop the sketch, and you'll learn more about that a little bit later. And then I'm going to rotate my view. Now it's a little different in Fusion. You have to push Shift and push in the center button in order to rotate. When I click on it, you'll also notice there's no wheel that pops up for me to do anything. But that's because in Fusion you can use the right click option. So I can right click on that and do a press pull, or I can do an extrude. They'll both get me the same thing. So I'll extrude this, and I'll extrude it 3, and push Enter. Now I've got a shape in 3 dimensions, just like you would have in 123D. So now I'm going to insert some text on there. It is under Sketch down here. Make sure you actually click on the face of the object that you want to put the text on. Don't click on these planes in the background there. Click on the actual face. So we'll place the text, type in your name, and for now we're not going to rotate it and align it or anything. I'm just going to put it in a completely random position, and because I'm in a hurry, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave it as 10 for my height, and I'm just going to push Enter to lock it in. So now I've locked that in. I'm going to push Stop Sketch, and now I've got this here. And remember, with 123D we need to extrude this text. So let's double click on it to bring up the text. Sorry about that. Let's right click on it, and we will go press pull, and we'll push 1 for 1 millimeter and push Enter. Now I was in a hurry doing that, and now I realize my name is completely off kilter. So in 123D what we would have had to do was push all of these letters down and then restart the whole process again. In Fusion you have this thing down here where my cursor is, called a timeline. What it does is it actually saves each of the steps that I did. So if I were to click on it and maybe go back, if I go forward 1 step, it will show me what I actually did at that step. So now I'm extruding, now I've made my text, and then I actually extruded it. So if I ever want to go back and change anything, I can, and it will change everything ahead of it. So let's go back to this text, and we're going to go into it and we're going to edit it. So I right clicked on it and I'm going to edit the sketch. So now I've actually decided, okay, I'm going to actually put this in the right place, so I'm going to edit my text. Let's actually put it somewhere that actually makes sense, and we'll try to line it up as best we can so it looks a little bit better. So I put it maybe in the center. You could even change the type of font you want at this point. Whenever you have made all your changes, you just push stop sketch, and you'll notice it actually extruded the text in its new spot. So I went back in my timeline and made a change to that actual object. So if we want to finish that up like we did with the other one, we could put a circle on there. Again, click on the face of this. Good. Stop sketch. And then we can extrude this through. So just like we did with the other one, you just pull it right through, push enter, and now we have our circle there. So you could do the same thing and say, oh, I don't like the size of that circle. I'm actually going to change that circle. So let's edit the sketch. Maybe you just click on the outer part of it and you just drag it in to whatever size you want. Okay, that's better. Stop sketch, and then you'll notice it's already extruded what you've changed. So that's a really, really nice feature about Fusion 360 as compared to 123D. It's a lot easier to make changes because it saves all of your steps in this timeline. And even if I saved it, closed it, and came back into it, my timeline would still be there, and I could make any changes that I want to afterwards. So the other thing we can do is modify and do our fillet if we wanted to. Same thing where you can select multiple edges at a time. So and it tells you how many you've selected as well. So let's say I just did those 3 and I did them 4. Let's do a big one. Let's do 10. And then let's say, okay, I've got done, and oh no, actually I don't like that change that I did. I can double click on this fillet down here and I can change it to 3 or whatever you wanted to do. So that timeline is a really, really nice feature. It doesn't always do everything you want it to, but it's definitely much better than having to just push undo a bunch of times in 123D. So that's one of the main features that I love about Fusion 360 as compared to 123D, is going back in that timeline. In the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about the mouse commands and how they're a little bit different and how they can be a little confusing at times as well.